human history would be divided forever into two eras: everything that happened before nuclear war and everything that comes after it. In the worst-case scenario, nuclear explosions could ignite massive fires across entire regions, killing hundreds of millions of people within hours. But the most dangerous consequences don't come from the explosions themselves. The true catastrophe begins after the bombs have fallen. A large-scale nuclear war could trigger far more than immediate destruction. It could collapse the climate, disrupt global food production, and bring civilization itself to the brink.
How fire leads to global winter. When a nuclear weapon detonates, it releases heat hotter than anything naturally found on Earth. Everything nearby catches fire almost instantly. Buildings, forests, and entire cities can become raging firestorms.
These aren't ordinary fires. The heat they produce generates powerful winds, pulling in oxygen from the surrounding areas and feeding the flames even more. As the fire climbs, smoke and soot are lifted high into the sky, forming massive storm clouds. These clouds can rise above normal weather systems, reaching levels of the atmosphere where rain cannot wash them out. Once suspended there, soot and ash can linger for years. A single burning city is tragic. Hundreds of burning cities at the same time would be unprecedented in human history, blocking the sun. In a full-scale nuclear war, thousands of explosions could ignite fires across continents. Together, these fires could release tens of millions of tons of soot into the upper atmosphere. Over the following days and weeks, this layer would spread around the planet, blocking sunlight from reaching the ground. The sky wouldn't turn pitch black, but even a modest reduction in sunlight is enough to dramatically cool the Earth. Temperatures would drop rapidly. Seasons would shift. Summers would become shorter and colder, or vanish entirely. This sudden dramatic cooling is known as nuclear winter. Why nuclear winter causes starvation? Plants rely on sunlight. Farming depends on predictable seasons. In a colder, darker world, rainfall patterns would shift, droughts could spread, and growing seasons would shrink or fail entirely, especially in regions where most of the world's food is produced. Modern humanity depends heavily on a few key agricultural regions to feed billions. If these fail, global food systems collapse almost instantly. Even if some land remains usable, modern agriculture relies on fuel, fertilizers, machinery, and global supply chains, all of which would be severely disrupted or destroyed after a nuclear war. Humanity only keeps a few weeks' worth of food in reserve. A drastic drop in production would lead to mass starvation within months. Realistic nuclear war scenarios. Scientists usually consider two main possibilities. A limited regional conflict, such as a war between neighboring nations, could kill tens of millions immediately. Even without triggering a full nuclear winter, it could disrupt global climate enough to cause hunger for hundreds of millions more. A large-scale war between major nuclear powers would be far worse. Hundreds or thousands of weapons could be detonated, instantly killing hundreds of millions. The resulting climate effects could cut global food production by most of its capacity, pushing billions toward starvation within a few years. Who could survive? No place on Earth would be completely safe, but some regions, particularly in the southern hemisphere, might experience less severe effects. Countries far from major targets, with strong local food systems and lower population densities, would have a better chance, although survival would still be extremely challenging. Civilization as we know it would likely collapse, and survivors would inherit a planet that is colder, harsher, and deeply scarred. Final thought. Nuclear war isn't just about explosions, it's about fire, climate, hunger, and the fragile systems that sustain billions of people. Once it begins, there are no winners, only survivors. That's why preventing nuclear war is one of the most urgent challenges humanity has ever faced.